give you all this godly light.
Hey,
When
good
you're feeling
morning, Facebook.
pain,
Thanks so much for
don't
watching
be
us. It is Friday morning, and Good Friday morning at that.
It is.
And we are here for Life Inspired, and our guest is Dan Vukmirovich. I'm so glad to have you on the red couch.
It's great to be on the red couch. It's comfy.
Yay.
actually.
So if you've never met Dan, it's Vukmirovich.
Yes.
It's kind of hard when you see it in print. You don't know how
Yes.
to say it, right?
Vukmirovich. There you go.
So it's a Good Friday, and we're so grateful for the sacrifice Jesus gave that we can learn how to love each other and learn how to sacrifice ourselves for others. So that's pretty awesome.
Amen.
So if you've never tuned in to Life Inspired before, I always want to tell our first timers what's going on. We're going to ask Dan a few questions. He's going to talk about a particular turning point and a new trajectory in his life. Most of us have numerous turning points in our lives. And some people want to talk about, you know, before they even knew God and God got attention of them, and now how they're walking with God. Sometimes you were already walking with God and he says, oh, wait, I want you to do this right now. And you're like, wait, what? And then you, okay, God, let's go that way. So life before the ... and then God turning point in your story that you're going to share. What was the background life before the dots?
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think it's more recent when it comes my kind of renewal experience, I guess. You know, and I think our faith is constantly a renewal process,
For sure.
and it honestly daily, if we're living probably the way He would like us. But seasonally speaking, I've found that I was working, or I was in a given working actually for a church locally, and was a pastor on the staff there, and great, and doing great things for Jesus, and really, I think, hopefully making a difference in a lot of people's lives. But
Mine, for sure.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
that's great, and that's kind of how we got to know each other. But over some time, I started to get really comfortable in that position, and I was like, yeah, and I kind of sort of had things sort of figured out, and this is the way you do it, and you kind of go. And then the apple cart kind of got upset in that whole process by just a series of circumstances, just different visions, and I had a certain vision for things, and there were different visions for the people around me, and we decided, kind of like Paul and Barnabas, it's time to part ways, kind of a deal.
Right.
And still doing great things. They're still doing great things there. But I knew that there was a different path for me.
Right.
But during that time, there was some disillusionment because I didn't know where I was headed. I was like, okay, I know this isn't it, but now I'm heading to this new territory. What does that clearly look like? And I think that's the way I think we all want it, right? We want the steps before we get there. So we want to know where the destination is before we get there, but that's not part of faith. The faith is, in the Psalms, it's like, again, thy word is a lamp, or your word is a lamp unto my feet and light unto my path. That's not a light to illuminate the entire path.
Right.
That's just going to be a few steps in front of you. So
Right.
if you're carrying the word, it is just a few steps. So you're only talking, maybe it's only the next step sometimes.
Right.
And I think that's where we have to stay focused. So, but anyway, in the process of that, I ended up learning a lot about what it means to be, or kind of redefining my faith and finding new sources of understanding, a deeper appreciation for maybe a lot of the more historic parts of our faith, and just understanding maybe a broader sense of what the whole process of becoming a follower of Christ looks like. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, the verse that comes to mind for me is one in Hebrews that talks about Abraham. Abraham obeyed and went, even though he didn't know where he was going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
You obeyed God and left where you were comfortable to go to a land that was unknown to you.
Yes.
That's so cool. So what exactly, that's the turning point, I guess, that when he turned you?
Yes.
And you actually had a couple of transitions from there to what you're doing now.
Yes.
So tell me how you...
Lots of transitions.
Yeah, what does the inspired life look like right now? God's inspiring you to do what right now?
So I effectively, as I left that secured position, ended up being part of or I was already sort of being into fitness a lot and helping people with their health and fitness, and really kind of the whole, where body, mind, and spirit sort of meet together, knowing that we're holistic beings and God created us that way, and we need to honor Him in all those areas of our lives. And as I experienced that season, I grew a lot. He taught me a lot about what it means to be to be a leader of people outside of a context that was, because the organization I was part of had such great leadership. I think I often, and I don't know if you guys have been, or if you've ever been in an experience when there's great leaders around you, you just kind of like, okay, you got it covered.
Right.
But then I was like, no, I'm gonna prepare. I had to grow some muscle, literally, and then literally and figuratively in that season because it was a fitness thing. So I had to learn how to, I had to run a business. I opened a gym locally, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to learn what does it mean to do payroll? What does it mean? All these different skill sets, and so I learned a lot with that. And then, so that season, and still kind of doing that season, and I'm still closing the gym locally, but I still help people, online and with their fitness and things like that. But what and then following that season, I ended up just literally where Lisa and I, my wife, we have 2 kids approaching the college age at this point, got to pay for college, and the bills, all the numbers weren't lining up, and so we're like, okay, God, prayed on a Saturday, God, what are we gonna do? And Lisa kind of said, I think you should look back, because I used to be a choir teacher back in the day. When I first came out of college, choir teacher for in the schools, and I ended up so Saturday we prayed, sought some counsel on Sunday. Monday morning, got a text message from a guy, hey, if there's anybody who's interested in a choir position? Literally on Monday morning.
Just asked you if you knew somebody.
Yes, if I knew somebody, and then in parentheses, or you possibly, wink, wink. And I'm like, what?
That's crazy. Only God.
Well,
That's
yeah, and I called the principal that day, ends up being a great friend of ours. I didn't realize she was there, and had the job by Tuesday.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm still being.
That's so crazy. It's 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days. There it is.
Wow, that's crazy.
Very funny.
Wow, I had no idea. So now you are teaching choir.
So I am teaching choir again in the South Bend schools, and at LaSalle Intermediate Academy, and just
which is award-winning with some of their stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and we're learning, and it's been a transitional process, and especially working with students of very diverse backgrounds. And I had just not been part of that so much. Our kids have been part of the Penn District, and God's really taught me a lot about what it means to deal with sometimes students and parents or things that are from different background. And it's been challenging, I'll admit, but honestly, I'm settling into it now and having a lot more fun, and allowed to bring my playful spirit that I tend to have a lot with that.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
very cool.
It's been great.
All right, you can't be here without talking about
Yes.
1985.
And so that,
what did God do to get you to do that?
So the 1985 is a band. Obviously it's an 80s focused band that we do.
Cover band.
Cover
so
band.
They play,
Yeah. Cover
they play
band.
cover music.
So there's a wig that goes on this bald head. Actually, several wigs that go on this bald head, and we do. And my wife is also involved in it as well. And the fun part about what we get a chance to do is we get to sort of, as Cher said, turn back time, cool. And for a lot of people, and take to places and with songs, because songs often, music can literally take you back right to a moment. When I remember when I was listening, I was in my bedroom and I was listening to this song and I loved it, and I had this poster on the wall and those kind of things.
Right.
So some really fun memories for people, and even things we literally do some stuff with 80s prom. We talk about prom, so bringing people back some memories and things like that. So it's been really, really fun, and we do all these covers, but I think the idea is we're kind of the background of what that all looks like is really what I think there's especially in the club scene, and we're realizing this as we've entered into this world. First of all, super loving people, and especially the bands themselves. It is some of the most supportive people, band to band. So
awesome.
That people support the local music scene here. It's just insane, and I love the fact that that when I've literally had a guitarist from another band. It's like, hey dude, can I get one of those hats that you guys have? I'm wear it, man. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome.
But it's so super supportive. And so we found that, but also can be a dark side to that to the world of kind of the club scene. And but all we're trying to do is bring, and it's very funny because we're kind of an anomaly in the midst of it, because we are just so bright, because you can tell the colors, it's just this bright intensity, and we bring a lot of joy and fun and a lot of smile instead of intense and serious. And
Right.
we know we're in on the joke, we're goofy and stupid. We literally have at one point we have a person in a blow-up dinosaur costume
Everybody
come
walk
out.
the dinosaur.
Everybody walk the dinosaur. We're doing this song called Rock Lobster that we've got from B-52s. Yes, there will be a lobster surfing
No
around.
kidding.
And we have beach
Smokestack
balls.
tomorrow night,
Smokestack
right?
tomorrow night. Yep. So we're heading Smokestack in Mishawaka. But it's, it's just a heck of a lot of fun. And I think part of what we do with the band is we just want to be that encouragement to people. And with the messages that we get back, which are really, really fun. I haven't had that much fun in years, is what people keep saying, because they just kind of let go, and it's really been fun.
Right. Well, I just want to make sure and share something that you shared with me. How passionate you are for loving on these people. Jesus came to love. Jesus came to love to the point of his own death.
Yep.
And you guys are loving it. Even being a choir teacher in South Bend schools, you're not a pastor anymore and leading Christ followers to worship Christ better, but you're, like, I'm using my hands a ton, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm like just talking with my hands, but you're loving at school. You're loving your co-teachers, you're loving your students, you're loving your students' parents and all of that stuff. And then when you do the club scene, you're loving on the participants in the audience and the crowd there at the bars and stuff like that. And
waitresses,
and
bartenders, whole thing.
and that's who we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be Jesus with skin on in the world. And I think a lot of people kind of get lost with the, oh, well, I'm not a professional pastor, so I don't, have any witness or ministry. We're all supposed to witness. And I just love that you're doing that. And you shared something with me about that was your heart behind it, that we just want to love. We just want to be light.
Well, I just think the biggest, for me, and this has been the season of the last probably 2 years, through some meditative practice. So I do a lot of with every morning I begin with just some centering prayer type of meditation, and it really helps me throughout the day, because I think what happens, so when Paul says pray ceaselessly, I think people have a mistaken sense of what that means. So I think that comes to a place of ask for stuff ceaselessly, okay? And I don't think that's because people equate prayer, well, ask for stuff, right? Or whatever, a prayer, or maybe you're interceding. It's like, well, I'm not going to be selfish now, so now I'm going to intercede for people. So that's not selfish prayer, so I can do that all the time. But, no. So pray ceaselessly is just be in communion with me, is what the Spirit says.
All day long. I'm with you all day long.
And so it's about, it's my sense of my meditative practice, which sets my mind and my heart up for the day. Just be present. If you can be truly present in those moments, you will know what you need to do. And then that's where you can be most effective. Instead of, I'm going to push my agenda, I've got this thing, I've already got, it's like even when you're talking to somebody, are you genuinely listening to them, or are you preparing already with what you have to say?
Right.
And I think it's so important, because if we are present in those moments, then we are so much more effective by what we do, because we're listening to the Spirit as we are just be present, just be there. And so, teacher, great. Social media person, yes, great. What's next, God? Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's see something. And naturally, just stuff starts falling into place, instead of trying to I gotta muscle it, I gotta force it, and and nothing against the self-help industry, or just like the whole leadership, like self-leadership. I gotta do this, and we're gonna affirmation ourselves, and all these things. I've tried all that stuff, and man, it just doesn't work for me in terms of how I end up just feeling more stressed and less present, because I'm I'm in that space where I've oh, I missed doing that. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I didn't do all these things I didn't do, instead of and nothing against to-do lists. I think there needs to have some organization, and everybody needs to have a little bit of that. But the more we can be present in those moments, and instead just man, what's next, God?
Be
What's next?
still and know that
What's
I'm
next?
God.
Be still, know.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, next thing. And I will show you, which leads us back to that whole original thing. All I need today is the next step, God.
Right.
I don't need the 5 steps. And every time I put myself, and this is interesting because a little confession, as it relates to my job with teaching. And this is just about this is hot off the press right now, but the last 3 weeks, God's done a major heart change in me in this, because I've been sort of like, okay, God, I know this it can't be it. I gotta get out of this thing. I gotta find a different path, something else. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, He really just shifted me into, Dan, just do what you do now to the best of your ability and love the people around you with the best of your ability. That next step, if I need to move you, I'll move you. I got it. And that was exactly the case of when He brought me into this job. We just that moment, and then 3 days later, boom, we got it. So I didn't have to work for there was nothing. I didn't like go, oh my gosh, I'm going to put my resume out in 15 different places, and I got to go, all this stuff. It just landed in my lap. And so, honestly, that's what's happening with our band too. The influence, like we're playing at places, and we're not even been around a year, but we played at the St. Patty's party at Four Winds Field with 3 other bands that have been around for 4, 5, 6 years, some of these people. And we're this like 7-month-old band, which is like in the band, you don't have a whole lot of cred yet.
Right.
God just opening up doors. And, and there's a big announcement that I can't say.
Oh, okay. When are you making the announcement?
We're going to be making it probably around in June, but we've got a big announcement about the New Year's. There's something big happening here locally.
Cool.
So
we can't wait to hear. All right, that's awesome.
Inspired, you heard it first. That's the teaser.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like Iron Man symbol or Avengers, whatever next movie. That's
coming.
What that is.
It's coming. Awesome. Well, Facebook, may you guys have the most blessed Easter holiday weekend, and just remember to love your neighbor. And when Jesus says love your enemy, the enemy's the devil, not the one you think. With skin on. That's not your enemy. That's your brother. And so, may you love your brother no matter what that brother looks like or sister looks like. And you guys have a great Easter. Thank you so much, Dan, for sharing.
Thanks, Dan.
And if you would like to have coffee with Dan, I know that he would do that. Tell you all about why he walks with Jesus and all that good stuff.
It's got to be good, though.
Yeah, good coffee. Steve Stockdale, Victorian Pantry Coffee. All day long.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.